The Metaphysics of the Scarab. Etymological introduction. The word scarab comes via the Latin scarabaeus from the Greek karabos, which originally referred to a beetle-like or crayfish-like armored creature. In the Egyptian context, however, the native root is decisive. The verb heper means to come into being, to transform, and to appear. This very verb was written with the hieroglyph of the dung beetle. The divine name Khepri derives directly from it and literally means the one who becomes, or the one who comes forth from himself. Strikingly, there is also a phonetic closeness between the Egyptian Keper and the German word Käfer. Both share a similar sequence of consonants and a comparable sound. Although there is no direct linguistic relationship, the resemblance in pronunciation is remarkable and underlines how strongly the beetle as an emblem of becoming resonates across different languages. Thus, the scarab is already, linguistically and conceptually, the embodiment of becoming, not of static being, but of a continuous emerging from the invisible into the visible. Anthropological perspective. From an anthropological point of view, the scarab is a classic example of how a society translates an everyday observation of nature into a dense symbolic and social system. The Egyptians observed that the dung beetle forms a ball of dung, rolls it backwards, and deposits its eggs inside it. Weeks later, new beetles emerge from this seemingly dead matter, as if they had brought themselves forth from nothing. This observation was not read as mere biology, but as a model for cosmic and human processes. Social and ritual embedding. Scarabs were produced in vast numbers as amulets from stone, faience, gold. They served as seals, jewelry, status symbols, and above all as grave goods. The so-called heart scarab was placed on the chest of the deceased and inscribed with spell 30b of the Book of the Dead, so that the heart would not testify against the dead person in the judgment. Kings and officials wore royal name scarabs. There were even marriage scarabs and commemorative scarabs for important events. Cultural function. The beetle mediated between everyday life and transcendence. It was visible, tangible, and at the same time the bearer of the highest meanings. In this way, it made abstract ideas, rebirth, cosmic order, physically experienceable. Scarab culture was no marginal phenomenon. It permeated every layer of society, from the farmer who saw the beetle in the field to the priest and the pharaoh. Continuity and change. Veneration began already in the Old Kingdom and remained stable for millennia, even as other gods and cults changed. This shows how deeply the observation of the beetle was rooted in the Egyptian worldview. Anthropologically speaking, this is a form of naturalistic theology. Nature supplies the model, culture builds from it a system of meaning, protection, and social order. Metaphysical perspective. Metaphysically, the scarab and the god Khepri is one of the purest expressions of the Egyptian ontology of becoming. The Egyptian word Keper means simultaneously beetle, to become, to come into being, to transform, and to appear. The scarab is therefore not merely a symbol, but embodied metaphysics, self-creation, or autogenesis. The beetle appears to bring itself forth from dead matter. This corresponds to the idea that the creator god, Atum or Khepri, brings himself forth from the primordial chaos, Nun, without external cause. Khepri is the one who becomes from himself. Cyclical renewal. Just as the beetle rolls its dung ball, Khepri rolls the sun over the horizon every morning. The daily sunrise is not a repetition, but a genuine new creation. Death and night are not the end, but the necessary passage from which new life emerges. Micro-macrocosm analogy. The small beetle mirrors the great cosmos. What happens in the dung happens in the universe, and in the human destiny. The person who wears a scarab, or who is given a heart scarab in the tomb, participates in this cosmic becoming. Rebirth is not mere continued existence, but an active bringing oneself forth anew. Ontology of becoming rather than being. While some philosophies emphasize unchanging being, at the center of scarab metaphysics stands constant becoming. That which exists is always already in transition, from chaos to order, from night to day, from death to new life. In summary, Anthropologically, scarab culture is a highly developed form of nature observation translated into ritual, art, and everyday life. Metaphysically, it is an ontology of self-creation and cyclical renewal in which the small, the beetle, makes the great, sun, cosmos, soul, visible and tangible, and this is already inherent in the language itself.